This recording in progress. And then I hit that sound button. Thank you, Zach. Where would I be without Zach? I'd just be wandering around mumbling to myself, spilling coffee on myself, mumbling curse words, probably. Curses. Okay, look at all this stuff I have to do. I do. I've got this. I can handle it. All right. All right, now I'm resetting. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Clay Patrick McBride. I have the honor and privilege of teaching in our advertising department here at the Rochester Institute of Technology. It's an awesome job, and so thrilled to present 11 outstanding artists who will not disappoint you this evening. Their work is brilliant. Are we turning this light on? Yeah, let's turn it on now. Doesn't really have to be on now, but I think I should get the same light as everybody else, right? Thank you. Okay. This class is called Portfolio Development. I've written it, taken it apart, put it back together, and we're going to continue to do that with the whole department. So it's a work in progress. We're all works in progress here. I'm going to read you a little something from the syllabus. It's our fourth year capstone class. So it's really about preparing these young artists to go out there and kick the world in the hiney. Preparing your portfolio and promotional materials will be one of the most important, difficult, and time-consuming projects that you have worked on during your career at the Rochester Institute of Technology. It will be one of the most important things you leave with here at graduation. The portfolio will be important because it plays a major role in your life, continuing education, and your career path in the performing arts. The materials made in this class will express your artistic abilities and the quality of your vision. This may at times become difficult because it will require devoted energy and decision-making to produce a quality presentation. Time-consuming because it takes time to assure each piece is the best that it can be, and the presentation will display your work in the most appropriate manner. The portfolio is the summary or the benchmark of your growing ability as an artist. It is a device that will enable you to pursue your personal goals. The portfolio can take any form that you can imagine. But the important issue is that what you decide is the quality and the detail of the work, and the body of the work is in excellence. The portfolio is the container or the protector of your work. It's never finalized. We will continue and add and subtract to it. It will take other forms throughout your career. Remember, your work will always be a work in progress. Like Uncle Clyde here. I want this to go away. It won't go away. All right, I have to live with that. So the first task I give, a major task I give the students is to do a 1-minute sizzle reel, which is to kind of do what it says. Sizzle, cook, fire, introduce yourself and your work. And yeah, these are their 11 reels you're going to see rip through. Turning it off. Okay. Yep. Okay. So Zach cut this. Shout out to Zach again. Yep.
I'm Paturzo, and I'm a creative specializing in video and still life photography. I believe that every object has the potential to become an interesting photograph. Even a can of Spam or a trash can be elevated into something heroic. I'm deeply inspired by music, graphic design, and 20th century pop culture, and I try to incorporate nods to my influences in almost everything I create. What I love the most about my work is the balance between clean, graphic minimalism and unashamed maximalism. It's slick, refined, and meticulously crafted, but the bright, bold colors grab your attention and refuse to let go.
television show you are about to be watching on ABC Family. It's called...
Hi, I'm Allie Babcock, and I'm a fashion photographer. Through my work, I aim to ignite meaningful conversations surrounding the world of fashion. It goes beyond acknowledging individuals. It's about revealing distinct beauty. Diversity and inclusion aren't mere buzzwords or checkboxes on a casting sheet for me. They're the essence of a genuine representation, breaking free from stereotypes and embracing true beauty of humanity. Together, let's challenge stereotypes, celebrate authenticity, and foster a genuine appreciation for the beauty that resides with each and every one of us.
I'm McBride, a food and cocktail photographer and stylist. My images can be described as bold, classic, dramatic, and elegant. In my eyes, good food photography is meant to seduce you. Seduction is an art. It's tasteful, refined, and timeless. It's about creating a mood and ambiance, and I want my images to provoke these feelings when you see them. When collaborating with me, you can anticipate a bespoke experience resulting in meticulously crafted food photography. Each delectable item undergoes an artistic process where it is styled and captured to ensure perfection. My brand is dedicated to transforming every dish into a visually stunning masterpiece, ensuring that each photograph conveys both the mouth-watering essence and refined aesthetic that defines my work. Let's see what we can cook up together.
My work focuses on the fusion of sound and sight, taking a synesthetic approach to photography. I don't want to just capture how it looks, I want to capture how the music feels. My camera has brought me inches away from artists I grew up listening to and led me to some of the most innovative new names in music. My inspiration comes from dramatic lighting, vibrant colors, and of course, loud music. I'm Zach Adams. If there's music playing anywhere in the world, consider me available for hire.
Hi, my name is Seth Britton. I am a photographer with a deep fascination for the tiny details. The word macro photography comes from a Greek root, to enlarge. I use my camera to make the smallest, most invisible details the centerpiece of my imagery. Professionally, I have had the opportunity to develop alongside the legal cannabis market. Growing cannabis is a technical and scientific area of horticulture, and my images mirror that. Using complex techniques, I have captured unique trichromes and cannabinoids across hundreds of strains of marijuana, and had a great time doing so. But the truth is, I'm a jack of all trades. I find so much enjoyment in the complex processes and problem solving of various subjects, from high-speed splashes to large format analog work. But I find the most enjoyment when helping others. Being a classroom assistant and equipment specialist has led me to pursue further education, with the hopes to help future image makers find their voice.
My name is Jeremy Gable, and I'm a queer photographer. I use my voice as a platform for inclusivity and representation. Doing portraiture of other queer artists is a lot of fun for me. I love that I get to show off other people's talents through my own art. It almost feels like I'm cheating at life because I get to combine everything I'm passionate about. Something else I really enjoy photographing is food. I find that it's a medium that allows me to translate my campy aesthetic into it. I've always been a little weird to the outside world, and I think you can see it in my work. But hey, I love being different, and I'm okay with marching to the beat of my own drum.
And go.
My name is Kyra Allen. I'm an emotionalist artist and a creative portrait photographer. When I look through my lens, I'm looking to see a different reality. Something familiar but bizarre. Something unreal but authentic. My art is a meditation on motion, impulse, and the surreal, intangible qualities of the human experience. My photos speak a visual language laced with suggestions of dreams intruding upon reality, and invite you to step into the space between those two worlds. And here's the thing. I want to speak this language with you. I want to photograph your art, your ideas, you. I want to assist you in the studio. I want to produce your next project. I want to get coffee with you and talk about art and the world and the place you have in it. I want to invite you to think of yourself beyond the limits of reality, and if you'd like to see it, I'd like to photograph you there.
My name is Jackson Baker, and I've been called the Swiss Army knife of video.
Punch!
I think what makes me most passionate about my photography is having the ability to express that same passion through the eyes of the people I'm photographing. My name's Lucas Lee, and I photograph athletes.
Hi, my name is Leandra Worth, and I'm a still life photographer. I would describe my work as vibrant, elegant, and conceptual. My process begins with deciding what lighting, colors, and composition will best tell the story of my subject. To bring ideas to life and give a sense of wonder in each image by creating rich environments full of vibrant colors and beautiful lighting. Photography for me is about world building. Envisioning myself in the scene first helps me to connect to my photos and portray the feeling I want to convey. I fell in love with studio photography because it gave me the freedom to create from my imagination. Working with still life allows me to take time and appreciate the beauty in unexpected places. Each photo I treat as an opportunity to see the world in a more vibrant, enchanting, and meaningful way.
Shut that door. Shut that door. Oh wow, wasn't that awesome? 1 minute. Such a hard thing to boil down your artistry into 1 minute. I think they all did a really tremendous job. Thank you guys for doing that. Nailed it. I'm going to read something that I just read to the students that I think is one of my favorite things before I introduce our first artist. It's by Martha Graham, one of my favorite. I don't know. Yeah, people are waving at us. It's don't look at that. Don't pay attention to that. There's a lot of people out there. There's a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you and into action. And there is only one of you in all of time. This expression is unique, and if you will block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, not how it compares to other expressions. It's your business to keep it, yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and aware directly to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There is no satisfaction, whatever, at any time. There is only a queer, divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than others. Martha Graham. Ooh, that's really good. All right, so I have some notes, but I really don't need them to introduce. You know, there's things we can teach, but there's things we can't teach. And like, Will has such good taste in music, aesthetics, just everything that Will makes is made by Will, you know? Amazing skills in photo and video, a unicorn of sorts, a unicorn, for real. And even the colors that operate are like the colors that come out of the unicorn, right? They're just very unique to you. Please help me welcome our first artist, Will Paturzo.
All right, so hi everyone. I'd like to thank everybody again for coming. I think I can speak for everybody here when we say that we are. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, I know. That's a good project. Yeah. It's really loud.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you can mute it, yeah.
I'm gonna mute it. Just because.
Yes.
All right. All right. So now we're off to a good start. Hi, everyone. I'd like to thank everybody again for coming tonight. And I think I can speak for everybody when we say we're incredibly grateful for the love and support from all of you. So as Clay said, my name is Will Paturzo, and I like to make the ordinary extraordinary. And by that, I mean I like to photograph weird shit. My main focus is still life, but the subjects that catch my eye are ones that we may take for granted in our daily lives. Such as a metal trash can, or it could be something completely ridiculous, like this orthodontic denture model that I found on Amazon. I did buy it because of the braces. That was like the deciding factor. I thought this is too ridiculous. I couldn't pass it up. I love to decontextualize these objects from the traditional uses because it forces the viewer to view them in a new and unexpected way. I also love using bright poppy colors because it grabs the viewer's attention and refuses to let go. Maybe it's my ADHD brain, but it's like whoa, it's in your face, and like, how can you resist it? Two of my biggest inspirations are music and graphic design. And anyone who knows me knows that I love music. I should talk about it less. Thank you guys for bearing with me often. But it makes me so happy to inject those two, that love and passion for something so deeply personal into my photography. These are two images I created for, it was an album cover assignment, and I chose to do Kraftwerk, which is like a 1970s electronic German band. They're some of the pioneers, like music would not be the same without them. And although I'm not like a huge fan of their work, I wanted to like pay homage to it, and that's why it was like something special to me. On the left is this old Geiger counter that the story, I won't say the whole story, but it was a long shot, and pretty much Vincent Albin, who, if you guys know him, helped make it happen, and I have it out on display like afterwards because I just think it's such a strange find. And then on the right is an oscilloscope, which is used to measure like waveforms, and they were used a lot of like synthesizers, so that kind of all tied in. The interesting thing about this original album and the single covers is that they're both designed instead of photographed. And I love to capture that like flat graphic look and translate that into something that uses a camera to create the image. So this intersection of graphic design, music, and photography first came to a head for me my junior year when I created a video paying homage to Blue Monday by New Order. Now, I don't know if this video is going to work because EPUBs are interesting, but let's see. Yes, it sort of did. Yeah, so it's paying homage to Blue Monday by New Order and Peter Saville, who I consider one of my graphic design heroes. He was the designer for Factory Records, and I envisioned this short sequence. I was listening to the song one day, and I wrote the idea down, and it ended up being one of my favorite pieces I've ever created. I maintain that this is like the most me thing I've made, and it's like, I think it's pretty fair. So this next project, video project, is one I made with my my friend Anna Rhodey, and this was Labor of Love. Again, this works. Cool. It was a spec ad for JBL. We created it with a local musician named Ishmael, and we had this concept of two personas inadvertently chasing each other, but landing up in the same spot at the end. One very frantic and wild, like him in the red, and then the other one very stone cold, methodical. And very stone cold, stiff, and methodical. Getting these shots presented a lot of production issues for us, like making sure the camera didn't move an inch as he went to his car to go change outfits. I think it happened like 5 times. And then on our first shoot day, we got kicked out after 7 hours of shooting. All we needed was the final shot that tied everything together. But we could have, at that moment, and this is the interesting thing about this project, we could have just said, screw it, that was good enough. We had an ending that worked, and we could have just said, you know what, it's not worth the hassle. But we knew that there was something special on our hands here, and it was just me and Anna. There was no other collaborators from start to finish, and I'm proud to say that, because like this is, I think, one of the strongest things I've created. It was like I said, it was a long process, 6 months, 4 recolors, and a whole lot of dust removal in post. But both of us knew we had something great in our hands, and we had the tenacity to see it through. So now this brings me to this semester, and I had a bit of a dilemma on my hands. Up until this point, I was primarily a studio still life photographer. The more I learned about lighting, the more and more intricate my setups became, which I do take pride in. But shooting in the studio started to become an arduous task creatively. I'd go in with some semblance of a plan, and when the plan inevitably does not go how I expected it to, I would get so defeated and could not move on from this massive mental roadblock I put up for myself. I sometimes joke that I go through the 5 stages of grief when I shoot, but I guarantee you at one point it's happened. I don't know when and where, but there's no way it hasn't. The unreasonably high expectations for myself, harsh self-criticism, and fear of failure are all textbook signs of something that is both all too familiar and incredibly unwelcome to me: perfectionism. In my opinion, perfectionism is the perfect double-edged sword. On one hand, you leave no stone unturned, no detail overlooked, and are always looking for ways to elevate yourself and your work to the next level. On the other hand, you can get so caught up in every single little thing not being exactly how you want it, and it consumes you and your creative drive. I've been had this label like put on me since I was a child, and I have a very distinct memory of Clay. It was like our first work share, and Clay looked at me and he said, like looking in the eyes, and he said, "Perfectionist, perfectionist, perfectionist," and that really stuck with me, and that's part of the reason why I named the project what I did. But it was that moment that I realized like I should do something about this, because like I'm not enjoying creating photos right now, and like this is my last semester. I could have graduated in the spring with just 2 online classes, but I decided to come back for a full semester. I was like, I'm gonna make the most out of this. Long story short, I was completely burnt out by the end of last spring semester. My artistic block shifted from not wanting to make pictures because I knew I was just going to put myself through hell and back, to resenting photography at a whole at one point. Despite all this, I knew I had, like I said, 1 more semester left, and not making images wasn't an option. Enter portfolio development. All of us were encouraged to journal and look inward regarding our creative process, something I had never done before. I knew I had to put my cynicism aside and give it my best shot. At first, it wasn't much, but the more and more I worked at it, the more I started to put a lot of pieces together regarding my relationship with creativity and image making. My perfectionism was eating me alive, and when combined with ADHD, it became a perfect storm for chaos and despair of the creative soul. So I decided to make my senior project the complete opposite of everything I've been doing for the last 2 years. No more studio comfort zone, no more crazy lighting setups, no more 100 megapixel cameras, just me, a flash, in the world. I decided to call my project Imperfectionist, not only as a cheeky play on words, but as a rejection of the label that had been put on me since I was 6 years old. I based it on observation and acting on impulse. Instead of overthinking an image, I had to do what my gut told me. As Clay says, and I remember this, it was during LCM with Christy, Clay says, "Don't think, just shoot." Over the last 3 months, I found myself observing the small details around me more than ever, and being drawn specifically to electrical wiring and industrial settings. Don't question it, I just think it's really fascinating. I love the balance between order and chaos, a tangled mess of cables that still had a destination to plug into. I loved how something we would deem, quote, ugly could be transformed into a unique and eye-catching image. I loved finding the strange beauty in the things that have surrounded me for months, if not years. Aside from the more observational-based images, I also started to create still lifes on location, mainly of food and other domestic objects. This is, the photo on the right is the eye wash station in the darkroom. I don't know how it got to look like this, but it was just one of those things from like, you decontextualizing the object. Anyways. The locations the objects were photographed in were unusual in context. We have broccoli on a grill, Swiss chard in my shower, batteries in a darkroom sink, but the location didn't matter when creating the image. It was all about the end result and finding a backdrop that would suit the subject. To say this has been a breath of fresh air has been an understatement. I've said from the start of the project that the final images are not the main takeaway. It's the process I go about creating them. While they are a stark contrast to my studio work in terms of grit and texture, the new location images still focus on graphic composition and bright colors. The best part is that instead of spending hours in the studio, I can make these images in mere minutes, and that's incredibly refreshing. I plan on continuing this practice into the future and making it a full series. I think it's refreshing to show people the world in my eyes and how I see things that others may not see. And I think it's a really great way to end my time here at school, making a left turn that I would not have predicted months ago, but that makes perfect sense in hindsight. I can't lie, there have been many times where I've questioned my enrollment in the RIT photo program. I have felt unsure of photography as a career path, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous for the future. I often think about what could have been if I stayed in engineering or transferred to Syracuse my sophomore year. But after reflecting on everything I've experienced here, the good critiques, the bad critiques, the countless late work nights, the midnight mental breakdowns, the 1 a.m. creative breakthroughs, the shenanigans, the amazing friendships, the laughs and the tears, I can confidently say that I would not change anything in a heartbeat. And at the end of the day, what more could you ask for? Thank you.
So we're going to go straight through without a break. The run time's about an hour and 20 minutes, just so the room knows what they're in for. Right? Which thank you, Will. That was awesome. Our next artist, I really identify with in so many ways. I feel like we're cut from the same cloth, fellow Sagittarius, if that's a word, Sagittarius. Ali Babcock brings such an important conversation to our school, to our classroom. Something we've been talking about for a long time, but then Ali came like a sledgehammer and just started like really making a point that I think is such an important thing. You've been such an important person here and so many critiques, and yeah, it's been dope. Please help me welcome Ali Babcock.
Hi, I'm Ali Babcock. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone coming out and supporting us tonight. It is truly an honor to be standing up here. I'm a very emotional person, so if I start crying, it's okay. It has just taken me a long time to get here, and I didn't think I would ever get to this point. I've been saying this quote for a while now: be the person you needed growing up. This is no diss to my parents and has everything to do with the norms and expectations society has put on young people's bodies. Growing up, it was extremely clear that my body type was something that society steered away from with the overwhelming amount of weight loss media and diet culture. It has created detrimental ideas of perfectionism in my mind, and I have been struggling for years to unlearn those things. For the past year, I have been trying to find designers and creatives that care about diversifying the industry with body inclusion. I met Alexis, who is the owner of Plus Brooklyn, the only plus-size vintage thrift store in New York City, on the ad trip last semester. It is mind-blowing to me that one of the biggest cities in the world only has one thrift store catered to bigger people. Also, while being in the city for the trip, I met Doobie, the owner of Snow Milk. He creates these really cool screen printed pieces. My team and I, during Ad 2, created these amazing images that Doobie used for his advertising. Snow Milk is sustainable and caters to all bodies. Over the summer, I met with the team at Rock Index and have been working with them throughout the semester, bringing fashion to the Rochester community. These women are true pioneers in the Rochester fashion community, and I'm very thankful for our relationship. The whole crew is actually here tonight, so shout out to them. I went to Rochester Fashion Week and met Sedans, a plus-size fashion designer here in Rochester. She cares about creating pieces that are individualized and celebrates bodies. This semester, I really pushed for collaboration, and I could not have created any of these campaigns without the other creatives involved. I had the opportunity to go down to New York City on my first ever solo production. I met Brittany Ann Cohen, a wearable tech engineer, and she was generous enough to work with me. I found Brittany on TikTok after seeing one of her moving pieces. On the shoot, I also collaborated with a makeup artist named Saint, who has worked with other amazing photographers on set. This experience was absolutely amazing, and I learned so much about being on set and collaborating with a whole crew. These are some of the pieces I've collected over the years from small and up-and-coming designers. These are Emily Tonelli's pieces. The hat is Sedera, and the rope piece is River McCall's. My plan is to collaborate more with up-and-coming artists and designers in the future. And not only am I a big collaborator, I'm also a little crafty. I have been creating these soda tab pieces for a year now, and I'm really interested in sustainability and the trashing movement, and asking the question, what can we do with the materials that we already have? Not only was I a content producer for this year's Beyond Fashion show, I also made my inaugural debut as a designer on the runway. So this is just a little process video of making the piece. I just want to thank Clay for always believing in me from the start and for pushing me with my work. And I want to give a big thank you to Christy Boyce for being my mentor this past year. I could not have done it without the two of you. So thank you so much for everyone for coming out tonight and supporting us.
Wow, it was great. Thank you. Hide controls. All right, we're doing this. All right, I'm going to start to do this for everybody. I've been sleeping on it. I'm sorry. Okay, from Vermont. I said on New York City. Am I right on that? Yeah? Okay. Emma Brott has done a beautiful job photographing things delicious, things intoxicating, things savory, and has really excelled this semester. It's been wonderful to see. So please help me welcome Emma.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited. In 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I'll be done forever. So huge, crazy. I'm Emma Brott and I'm a food and cocktail photographer and stylist. I've always been enamored with the art of food and cocktails.
Can you try to get rid of this thing? It's just
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it bother? Does
No,
it bother everybody or
You're
just me?
good.
Okay, you can start over.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
In 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll be done. I love how food can transport you to other places and allow you to experience new things on a day-to-day basis. My interest in food photography stems from a deep appreciation for the art of cuisine, as well as the powerful emotions that food can evoke. I believe that good food photography goes simply beyond capturing an image of a dish. It should also capture the light, the texture, and aroma, all while telling a story about the people and the place around the dish. Throughout my time at RIT, I focused my portfolio on food and cocktails. I remember back in Ad 1 when I shot some of my first food photos. And as the shutter clicked and the images came to life, a narrative began to unfold. A narrative that would weave its way into the fabric of my college identity. Soon, I found myself being known as Emma, the food photographer. A title that not just resonated with my passion for capturing cuisine, but also with the journey of self-discovery that unfolded through my lens. Each project and every culinary adventure documented became a chapter in the evolving story of my portfolio. From experimenting with vibrant compositions to navigating the nuanced world of cocktail photography, my creative exploration knew no bounds. The canvas of my experiences expanded, and I discovered new things about my artistic self. Within portfolio class, I've been granted the unique privilege of lending my lens to the culinary narratives of several restaurants. Through both shooting assignments and freelance opportunities, I've had the honor of collaborating with a diverse array of restaurants. Notable among these are the Tappets, Studio Lounge, Veneto's, and the renowned cocktail lounge in New York City called Table 87. Each of these experiences has provided me with a distinct canvas to expand my understanding and appreciation for the art of food photography. From the vibrant, eclectic atmosphere of Studio Lounge to the sophisticated and artistic cocktails at Table 87, every location has been a classroom in its own way. As I stand on the edge of graduation, I can't help but reflect on the growth and evolution encapsulated within those captured moments. What began as a series of food photographs in Ad 1 transformed into a comprehensive narrative of my artistic exploration and identity. The lens through which I viewed the world expanded both literally and metaphorically as I delved deeper into the intricate details of culinary aesthetics. Looking back, it's not just the images that resonate, but the journey they represent. The evolution from an aspiring photographer capturing her first culinary moments to a seasoned food photographer whose title, Emma the Food Photographer, has become more than just a label. It's a testament to the passion, dedication, and growth that defined my time at RIT. And I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and my parents, and Christy, and Clay, and Allie for supporting me. Thank you.
So awesome. I think Jeremy said it best when he was like, we all got to recognize Emma's hustle, right? I'm going to say it's not just hustle, it's grind and hustle. It's grussel. Emma's got the grussel. Like out there, like connecting with so many different businesses out there in the wild of New York City shooting drinks. I mean, come on, let's recognize that. Recognize that. All right. Got the cameras rolling over there, Adams family. Ready to go? Need some sound sync? There you go. Okay. So there's a story of a kid in elementary school running home from school, darting into the basement and playing Black Sabbath records, his dad's Black Sabbath records. I just love that image. I'm like, because that was me, you know, as a little kid, like when I heard Black Sabbath for the first time. So I think when I heard that story from Zach, I was like, yeah, I get you, dude. Like, and so he's been my teacher's assistant, and every once in a while there's a student that wants to photograph music, and I'm like, I can help this one. This one I can reach, you know? So yeah, it's just been an incredible semester to see Zach point his lens at, you know, what he loves, musician. And I think a musician understands practice and discipline, and those two things make a great photographer. So please help me welcome Mr. Zach Adams.
Thank you, Clay. Good introduction. Yeah, that story of the Black Sabbath record is true. That was really me. Yeah, so my name is Zach Adams. I'm going to be sharing my portfolio of music photography with you all tonight, which is, to my own surprise, I actually came to RIT photographing mostly wildlife, birds, cars, but definitely not music. So it was really through, you know, my fusion. I started a band when I came here, Retrograde, and my singer's in the audience. There he is, Quinn. Give it up. Yeah, the song on the Sizzle Reel is our song, actually. It's their song, Fireball. Streaming. But yeah, so it's crazy to think a year ago is really when I started doing music photography, and it was when the Dazed and Confused assignment rolled around in LCM, lighting control and manipulation with Clay. And you can either do passion or outrageous, and I chose outrageous. So I had to find the most outrageous subjects I possibly could. And there's this band called Savage Henry. Some of you probably know them. And they had opened for my band at one point, and I was like, there is nobody crazier at RIT. So I went for Savage Henry, and I turned in this work. And Clay looked at it, and he said, have you worked with a band before? And I was like, no, this is the first time. And he said, well, I think you should keep shooting music. And when Clay Patrick McBride tells you to keep photographing music, you keep photographing music. So that's what I did. So I choose my subjects for really a variety of reasons. Whether it be that I relate on a personal level, like this is Stookley. He's from Detroit. He's really up and coming there. He just did an ad with Cadillac. It's awesome to see. And I shot him, photographed him before that. And we were able to connect because my hometown is Detroit too. I'm from just north of Detroit, Rochester, Michigan, funny enough. So, yeah. And even to local Rochester artists like Rob Ingram and the Archive Ravens, who, you know, may be up and coming and fighting, you know, to stand out in our music scene, which for those of you who don't know is small but pretty competitive, I would say. And of course, as a music photographer, I also do live work. And in my live work, I really strive to capture what I like to describe as synesthetic photos. And I don't use that as in the actual condition of synesthesia, but as in that the photos should really
visually reflect how the music sounds and makes you feel. And when looking at the photos of the band, you should be able to think of their songs and feel the same thing that you feel when you listen to their songs. I say if you can't taste the sweat of the musician in the photo, it's not a good music photograph. And something really cool about live music for me has been it's allowed me to photograph some of the artists that I grew up listening to with my friends. This is Afro Man. He's kind of a comedical rapper. Some of you might know him. And I grew up listening to him with my friend Anthony in Michigan. And I also got to photograph the Locks, which is great. They're a great rap group from New York City, and Clay actually photographed when they were younger. So that was really cool to have a shared person in my portfolio. It's a 3-person group, and of course Jadakiss is in that group, and Jadakiss has been a favorite of mine for a while. So it was really cool to get to work with him and photograph him. And throughout the past few months, specifically for this portfolio class and my own work, I've been focusing on really trying to give a voice to up-and-coming artists in our area, in the Rochester area, through offering them studio and location publicity shoots and trying to capture really their Rochester roots in the photographs. And also in my recent work, it's been about storytelling. And I use storytelling to craft images that really say more about a band than I think words ever could. You listen to music and sometimes you see music in a music video, but photos are another way that you can really connect with the music. And if it's done right through storytelling, you really can. It's this Flying Object. They're a great group around here. And really also through storytelling, I have the power to transport you to a live show and what it's like to be there beforehand and right in the thick of it. Feel what it's like to be that drummer, just smacking away the drum kit for 2 hours and feel their struggle, but also feel the rush of adrenaline that you get from playing in front of a live crowd and a live audience. But, truly for me, music photography has always been about working with musicians and artists that really inspire me and music that I really love. And I don't think that there is a better example in my portfolio than this duo that represents that. This is Ready Hollow. They're a local duo they just finished their EP. And I've heard it because I'm going to do some music videos with them. And it is really some of the best music I've heard out of the Rochester scene. And it's been truly an honor to work with these guys and even shoot their album cover, their EP cover. And so they were really honored to work with these guys. And I'd like to conclude with this job I did in Nashville. This is Michael Huggins. He's a new country artist. He just released his first single, and I had the amazing opportunity to document the process of recording that in Nashville. He released that song. It's called Tragedy, by the way, by Michael Huggins. You should also stream that one. He needs a little less help than me, though, with the streams, because it's really taken off since 2 weeks ago when he released it. And I was also able to capture his publicity photos, and this is the album cover on the left. And the cool thing about Michael is he's my cousin. And the reason this is, hang on, bear with me. Yeah, and the hat. It's actually glued to both of our heads. So we share a grandfather, and this grandfather, which is obvious, but the grandfather we share is the one who taught me photography. And he also passed down to me some of his cameras. And I had the opportunity to use these cameras to photograph Michael. And our grandfather passed away a few years ago, and we miss him dearly, but his memory lives on through these cameras. And to use the cameras that my grandfather used to photograph Michael and me when we were younger, to photograph Michael in the beginning of his music journey was really fulfilling for both of us. And he was so excited when I brought that idea to him when we were planning all of this. And that's really what my goal is throughout my career, is to give a voice to all the musicians who are just starting their music journeys and help them along their way. And hopefully also work with some of my music idols, please. But yeah, and thank you guys for coming out. And I would also just take like to take a moment to thank the people who have helped me get here, because I would not be here by myself. I'd still be in the woods shooting birds, photographing birds. My parents, where a lot of my music tastes come from. My mom introduced me to Tom Petty and the Eagles, and my dad, the Beatles and Black Sabbath, and his cousin's actually a bass player for Motown, played on Sign, Seal, and Deliver by Stevie Wonder and a lot of those songs. So I had a lot of good music around me when I was a kid. And of course, my partner Mary, who's been super supportive. And in fact, it was actually her suggestion that I even shoot music in the first place. It was her idea to photograph Savage Henry. And I'm forever grateful for her endless support and ideas. And of course, Clay, who's really been one of the best mentors I've ever had. And I think we have a really cool connection, and I'm very grateful for all of his guidance throughout this process. And he tells me when I need to improve. So thank you, Clay. And thank you, everybody.
So Zach said he said something really nice. One time we were talking, and I was like, "You fish?" I saw his fishing pole. He's like, "Yeah, I fish." I'm like, "That's cool." Kind of. Those poor fish, I'm thinking the hooks and stuff. He goes, "No, my grandfather taught me how to fish. I fish as a way to remember my grandfather." And I was like, "Oh, so sweet, And like, isn't that what pictures are? Like a way we remember stuff, just great thing. Yeah, so, okay. So RIT is an amazing place. And I think there's a lot of people here who are committed not just to their education, but to everyone's education. Seth is a great cager, teacher's assistant. And my experience is watching Seth help people. And it's an amazing thing to witness. And thanks for always being that dude. Please help me welcome Seth Britton.
Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for coming. So many friends in the room. My name is Seth Britton, and I specialize in commercial macro photography. I took a strange journey to arrive here and study photography. In high school, I was studying STEM, and I always used my camera objectively. But eventually, I took a darkroom course in college, and I was taken by the technique and process. But I still approached it with objectivity. And broadly, I still use my camera in this way. Using the techniques I've learned at RIT, my work embodies the tiny details. While also being a salesman, I began commercially capturing jewelry here at Marketplace Mall, but quickly moved into a wide variety of products. The camera allowed me to see in a way that the eye can't, capturing intricate details and emphasizing the present beauty of an item in 2 dimensions. I continued to explore these techniques and found beautiful images in the growing market that is legal cannabis. Growing up in the post-war on drugs era, cannabis was always a conversation. We talked about it in school, we talked about it at church, we talked about it on the playground, and about how we would never try it. I wrote a research paper on the war on drugs, and my eyes were open to the history of cannabis and the politics that led to its criminalization. A plant that had been used medicinally and spiritually for millennia, and it just didn't make sense. The genetic engineering and scientific understanding of cannabis speaks to the future of the industry. The tiny crystals that you see are the THC, and they can be just a few micrometers wide. Simply put, THC is activated by heat and absorbed into the system to get you high. There are a ton of other factors, including cannabinoids and terpenes, but while through the same macro lens, I wanted to take a look at the human experience of the cannabis. I've taken inspiration from photographers like Martin Scholler and Andy Gotts, and took this objective approach, taking a look at the tiny details of the face and what changed as they now appear under the influence of cannabis. Yeah, it was a great time. I continue to focus on the minutia. Yeah, thank you for that. It's a great time. These next few images were shot using, you guessed it, macro techniques on a large format analog camera. Armed with long bellows and a dark cloth, I felt a stronger connection to my subjects and had the opportunity to be fascinated by the amount of detail the film could capture. These images also use a great deal of post-processing, a skill that I have been able to hone over several semesters here at RIT thanks to Jim Porto. Jim has been such a great resource and mentor, always motivating students to create their best work while being mindful and centered. Another powerful mentor I gained here was David Turner, my professor for several classes, including food photography. David has provided endless insight both personally and professionally. He has always encouraged me to do what I enjoy and has been an active problem solver in helping me find what that is. And truly it is just that. In my work, I like to deal with problems and put out fires. Whether it be the institutional problems of cannabis or hours spent in Photoshop or picking out the least misshapen gummy or, you get the idea. Or whether it be the technical problems of having a light go off at the exact time a splash starts to form. I thought about this one artistically and commercially, and I really, really enjoyed solving this problem. I spent a lot of long nights in the studio, as Will was saying, just trying to get these right. This attitude is what led me to working at our equipment cage and as a classroom assistant, being able to use my expanding knowledge to help solve other people's problems, allowing them to focus on their interests. Academia runs in my blood, and RIT has helped me recognize that. My mentors at RIT and, of course, my fellow students past and present have been my greatest resource, and without them, I would not be the man that I am today. I'm hopeful for the future, but for now, I hope to see you all afterwards. I know all of us have some really exciting things to share, so thank you so much.
He's going to be a great teacher. He's so articulate, so well spoken. So great job. I like what it says on your bio, where it says that your passion for photography began when you was a new form of communication for you, and I think that's what we're all here trying to do, is communicate, and you do that so well. You're so articulate. Jeremy Gable has spoke about this. This has been awesome to witness you this semester. Jeremy said it's been a transformative semester, and I've seen that. And I think that's the best part of the job as teachers, is we get to see this fucking miracle happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a miracle. Like, it's like and it's not us. It's like a big hand touches them on the head, and then something happens. And I wish it was my hand sometimes, but it's some big giant cosmic, different. Jeremy, the work is going to speak for itself, but has brought this like awesome culture to the classroom and conversation and characters and people and weird donuts and beautifully weird queer work. Please help me welcome Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Gable, and as I said in my sizzle reel, I'm a queer photographer. I don't normally go up to people and say I'm queer because that's just off-putting, I guess. But I do put it in the forefront of my work because I think it's important to my aesthetic. I grew up in a small town in Georgia. I didn't fit in with my family, still don't. While they would want to go hunting and fishing, I would want to stay at home with the women of my family and cook. So that's why food photography has allowed me to be my oddball self without judgment. According to Susan Sontag's notes on camp, a sensibility is one of the hardest things to talk about, and queer sensibility is no different. She explains that queer camp sensibility often converts the serious into frivolous, and I feel like I use that in my work. I love that sentiment because I grew up feeling like an outcast of my small town, So what I once thought was my detriment is kind of a superpower to me now. I've been doing photography with queer themes since I transferred to RIT. When I transferred in, I kind of felt like a fraud. I had no artistic background. I thought being an artist was just something that you were born to do. You either had it or you didn't. Over the last few years, though, I've realized that anyone can be an artist. You just need to work hard and be willing to say something. Photographing drag artists is more of a recent adventure for me, but it isn't a surprise to me given that I've always liked using queer themes in my work. I've grown a lot this semester, as Clay pointed out. I've grown in both confidence in my lighting and being able to reach people I admire and respect. I usually contact people through Instagram or just reach out to see if they want to work with me, and it's been an absolute pleasure to me to see people receive me so well. I remember reaching out to Mrs. Kasha Davis, who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, for example, assuming she'd say no to me. But she said yes, and she was incredibly kind with her time. And I don't think she realized at that moment how revolutionary that would be for me to be more confident in myself. I will forever remember the feeling of snapping the first picture of a local drag artist named Kyla Minks, who's pictured here, and having these images pop up on my screen. It's probably corny, but I remember feeling like my life was going to change in that exact moment. I love photographing drag. It's a heightened version of a reality, and I kind of feel like that photography in general is a heightened version of a reality. Both kings and queens alike have graced me with their talent this year, and I hope that they feel the same about the work that I've given them in return. And just really quick, I know this isn't an acceptance speech of any sort, but I wanted to thank two people. Sorry, I didn't want to get emotional, but I really wanted to thank Jake Watts, who's my best friend in the whole world. Without him, I wouldn't be here at RIT. I don't even know if I'd be here in general, because he's kind of saved me in a lot of sensibilities, but he's really important to me. And I also want to thank Camilla Kearns for being my photography partner and my rock the last few years. Again, I don't think I could have made it here without you as well. Thank you all for allowing me to, I'm so sorry. Thank you all for allowing me to be emotional and stupid in front of you and allowing me to show our portfolios tonight. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. That was awesome. Why this keeps happening. So I'm going to do this. Sidebar conversation. Jeremy won the gold brick in lighting manipulation and control. That's a big deal. For those that know, you know. All right, so I think we take pictures with two things, right? We take our pictures with our minds and our hearts. And whenever somebody takes a picture without taking one of those two things into consideration, I'm usually not interested in the picture. Something that's just here or just from here, but it's the marriage of the two that makes a good picture for me, I think. Our next photographer is got amazing technique, but it's the tip of the iceberg because the camera is like hardwired to their heart and they shoot from a place of emotionalism that's powerful and quite unique. Please help me welcome Kyra Allen.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, of course. Let me get my notes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kyra Allen. I have a lot of people to thank, but I'll just be brief by thanking my parents. Their love and support is the reason why I'm here and why I do what I do. And I also want to thank all of my mentors and peers throughout the years. I just want to thank you for sharing your work and your processes with me and taking an interest in mine. Tonight I want to talk about community and why it's such a huge part of my artistic practice. It goes back to when I first began to identify as an artist in 2019, when I got involved with a group called the Bar Hill Players. It's an acting troupe that's an acting retreat up in Vermont. And at the time, I was actually looking for a wellness retreat. I had just dropped out of my second college. I was feeling pretty directionless, and I really needed a chance to rekindle the spark I felt I'd completely lost touch with. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but the Bar Hill Players did check all of my boxes. They had mindfulness and guided journaling, and a little martial arts, and a little archery, and a little bushcraft, and it's all wrapped up in the context of a 1-week acting intensive, all made with the warrior artist in mind. What they offered was an opportunity to remember that even adults are allowed to play, and that you're allowed to take that damn seriously. It was there that I learned to experience art within myself in a whole new way. I began to understand passion as an actual sensation, and I began to understand expression as a fluid relationship between your experience and your reality. When I first began creating, I was an oil painter, and I was occasionally working in sculpture and performance art, but across all mediums, I found my voice in abstract expressionism. I found a way to use color and form to express the sensation of an emotion and an experience. As someone living with narcolepsy and chronic pain, I found freedom in the ability to express the intangible things, to give a voice to something that didn't even have form. I began to develop this visual language based on color and gesture and body, not to express what something was, but what it felt like. In this language, I found a way to overcome the barrier of communicating my experience in perfect words. By 2020, I was studying communications at my third school. I was an apprentice under a gallery owner and a photojournalist who is the one who pointed me here towards RIT in the first place. It seemed like a pretty big leap. I was not doing any amount of photography at the time, but I was really scared. I was on course to graduate, and I felt like nothing I had learned actually gave me any advantage in my career. So I just trusted that his instincts were good and pointing me in this direction, and here I am. As an artist working with fine art materials, I expected to be drawn to the fine art photo program here, but the ad program actually spoke to my interests more. The ad program offers the most hands-on time in the studios using strobe lights, and the more I learned about photography, the more I became interested in this concept of controlling and manipulating light. I'm not at all a STEM-minded person, but one of the most distinct qualities of studying photography here at RIT is the extensive technical background you get. It's not the background I'm used to. I'm very much based in the fine arts, but it made me completely reconsider what photography is. And it made me realize that the camera is not the photographer's medium. It's light. Light is our medium. We sculpt with it, and we can carve shadows, and we can paint highlights, and we can bathe in color, and we can use it to accentuate form. We can use it to become abstract. And we can encounter these moments that only exist for a fraction of a second. And it's there that we can find authenticity through the veil of surrealism. My workflow in the studio has always been driven by sensation, asking myself questions like, what can I do visually to make someone feel the heat of light against their skin? And what does one medium do that nothing else can? And how can they all exist in the same artistic practice? If I had to give my personal work a fancy name, it would be a therapeutic practice of expressionism. It's about tuning into your body as if it were your own creative partner, giving you feedback and telling you exactly how to work towards relief and satisfaction. It's about listening to the ways your body wants to stretch and the way your arms want to be thrown. It's about what color could embody this feeling and how it should move across the canvas. It's about covering yourself in paint if that feels nice, because it feels nice. In whatever form feels right, it's about allowing yourself to be influenced by your body's experience of the world and taking an interest in how that influence shows up in your own expressions. And that's what I love so much about collaboration. I love seeing the places where my voice still lingers in the frame and the ways that it's changed just because of someone else's presence. This is Rachel Coutant, who's a photographer here in Rochester. They're one of several artists I had the pleasure to collaborate with this year, and that is what the rest of this book will be. This was a collaboration with artist Julie Chen, who's actually a professor here at RIT. We used these images to advertise her performance of this piece in November. This was a collaboration with medical illustration artist Olivia Garlock. She took over 3 hours to paint my body like this. I still have that nude suit in my closet, and I do warn people before I open that door. This is a shot from a perfume campaign designed by Char Miller, designer extraordinaire. And one of my favorite collaborations from my time here at RIT, this is a member of the performance troupe called Velvet Noose. And I'm really excited to announce that this is one of 4 images that has been selected for Communication Arts Magazine's March-April Student Showcase publication. And finally, my most recent collaboration with Velvet Noose and Rachel Coutant. None of these images would be possible without the community of artists I found myself surrounded by here. RIT is my 4th and final school, and even with its issues, it's the only one where I felt like I was here at the right time, in the right place, with the right people. And because of that, my peers and I will be graduating with a degree, and as Clay once put it, enough knowledge now to be dangerous out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyra. Damn, I always do this, so I avoid this. Keeps happening. Oh. Kyra's also like a great custodian of the building, keeps it clean. Yeah, I just want to recognize that. We appreciate that, you know. You're really committed to that, like everything you're committed to. Jackson Baker, Crackerjack craftsman. People hate the phrase, but this dude is a content creator. Like, that's this dude. I invented the Swiss Army knife of video. I invented that. You are that thing. You are that impossible thing of many things. Come on up, dude. Yeah.
Thank you, Clay, for that introduction. Hello, everybody. I'm Jackson Baker. And before I get into this, I want to give a little introduction about myself. So I've been doing photography ever since I can remember when the first GoPro Hero session came out is when I started my journey. And I didn't even know photography could be a career until I was told in around 8th grade. And then I found out my friend was applying to RIT and I did not plan on going to college. They filled out maybe 80% of the application here for me because I didn't know how to do it. And I still managed to apply for finance instead of photography when I first was coming to here. And now I will be showing you guys my collection of work and the evolution of it and hopefully to continuation of it. So to start out, when I first came to RIT, I learned a lot of the process. I thought that I would be able to go in and out of the studio in 10 minutes, get an awesome photo, and be done. And I quickly found out it was the complete opposite, with everything always being checked out, the flashes for some reason not connecting to my camera, and ending up staying in the studios for 5 to 10 hours. It felt like just trying to get one photo. and but slowly still learning to love the process over time. But then over time, I learned to be able to stay in the studio for 10 minutes, and that switched to my post-processing time being 10 hours, which wasn't always too fun, but I love the process of getting it perfect in camera as fast as possible, and then spending time making it perfectly neat in post. So a lot of the photos that you've been able to kind of tell by so far, I like to keep slick and clean. I like to shoot either on a white or black background to make sure the product stands and comes to life. And this process right here of this photo is focus stacking. And so this one photo right here is around 170 to 200 photos in order to get this one photo. And it's great to spend that much time on it, to have it be scrolled on Instagram for just 5 seconds on your guys' page. Very generous. 5 seconds is actually a lot. So a lot of the thing that I like to do in my work is problem solving. I was slowly getting detached with photography. And so I tried to challenge myself over this course of the semester. So these two photos right here are both taken with the model lights of a flash. And they'll both focus stack the same process. Each one of these is about 120 to 140 photos. And I just want to see the best quality I could get with the bare minimum of equipment. And then along with keeping with the same theme about having to problem solve in my work, these two photos were during very intense times that are when everyone's trying to get through to finals and everything's checked out. And so both of these the photo on the left was taken with a flashlight hitting a piece of paper, bouncing down on it. And then the photo on the right is just a single light source with a little black piece of paper on top. So I was trying to be creative with trying to get professional quality photos with bare minimum and trying to make it like ad worthy and it could be presented as a job. And sometimes things always don't go to plan. When I made this photo, I killed my computer. All the time of going through and doing all the processing of work ended up breaking my computer, and I had to get a new one due to this photo right here. But this is one of my favorite photos also. And then just keeping along with the same theme, I kind of dialed down and did more clean photos, white background again, but had fun with Canon. I actually had Canon comment on this post, which was very happy for that one. And I wanted to see both test my lighting skills with the one on the left is basically just two lights and moving them around and composing them together. And the one on the cookies or whatever those are basically just one light on the bottom and on top and in and out in 10 minutes, thankfully. And more with my problem solving that I try to do is there were no extra modifiers for the high noon photo. So what I did was I just used the walls in the studio and flagged them off and used them as bounces to hit the can. And the one with the alcohol behind me is a long exposure photo painting with light in order to get the gradient and laying the actual product too. But I also do some photos of people. And this was film. I don't do people as much as I do products, but when I do, I like to have fun and engage and with my subject a lot. And I had fun shooting with this snake. It was kind of scary, but also really cool to actually have like something happening in my photos, because I always got told that my photos are a little too boring. And so I tried to spice it up with a snake. And these are both shot on film. And the one you're seeing here is a test shoot for it. And the one over there is the actual shoot day. And so whenever I do the process of shooting on film, I always have my Canon camera attached also. So I'm going back and forth to test the exposure and getting everything perfect, which is another way because I don't know how to light meter in the studio. And so I'm going to talk about something that happens a lot to photographers, but they don't always like to admit it, which is happy accidents. And so the photo on the right is an extreme happy accident I have. It was one of the last portraits I did on campus. And so my talent here actually was being strangled by the snake in this photo, but I was asking them if they could please stand still for a few more seconds so I could get a few more of the snake moving around, and that's how I was able to combine the photos all on top of each other to get like a Medusa head, basically. But and so after this, I was really told by especially my professors and classmates and my friends to really just start diving more into video and going more heavy into it. And let me make sure this is muted so it's not loud. Okay. And so this is the first video that I really took serious at RIT. It was a little like spec fashion ad that I wanted to do using mixed mediums, photos, videos, and sound design and transitions in order to make engaging video that could catch your attention and keep you engaged for more than 5 seconds on Instagram. And keeping along with that, I want to bring the work into the studio. And so this is a little spec ad I did for a perfume. And I wanted to keep the same consistent theme of my photos with keeping a sleek white background or black background and showing the product in its true and best light so that you weren't distracted by any other elements within the shots. And I'm ever growing on this category, and it's very fun, and it's actually faster than photos for me now. And this was, there's a funny story about this video, but this was inspired by a music video from Maroon 5, Girls Like You. And basically in that video, they spin around each other and different people appear and reappear as behind. As you see, as this person disappears, a new outfit will appear behind them. And so in order to be able to do this, I had to come up and think of a way, because I couldn't have them just spin because they would be moving up and down and it wouldn't be consistent. And so I had a turntable, and I had them stand on a turntable that was motorized and had it slowly just move around, have them stay on it, and it would just move them around. And then in that After Effects, I spent 20 hours trying to figure out how to actually merge it and mask it together. But the process was great. It came along awesome, and this is just kind of what I'm trying to have my work more go towards for fashion video work. And this video right here is not 100% done yet, but this is the first time I ever am doing what I want to actually do when I graduate, which is be a DP. And so that is director of photography, which is a person that's operating the camera. And I scripted, I storyboarded, and I got a team together. It was a great team to help me out and do this little shoot. It's not 100% done yet, as I said, but I'm very happy with how it's coming along so far. And as it's playing, I just want to thank everybody that has came here tonight, and also people on the live, which the phone's upside down. What? I can't tell. It doesn't matter. But I want to thank everyone again, and to all of the classmates. This has been an amazing year, and I've had so much fun growing with everybody here and seeing the evolution of a lot of people's work here, and I'm hoping to see a lot of you guys in New York City also. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. All right, so stories, right? I have a brother who's a magician in Las Vegas. Really, for real. I'm sorry. He's a magician in Las Vegas. My brother, his name's Jeff McBride. And he's like the Michael Jordan of magicians. He's a really good magician. Just check him out, McBrideMagic.com. But he's also a teacher. He's got a school. It's called Mystery School. So he teaches young magicians all over the world. But he's a pretty smart dude. And he says the best magicians in the world are the ones who do the most magic shows, like Copperfield and Doug Henning and Blackstone and Jack McBride. And they do a lot of magic shows, and that's how we get better, right? We have a practice. And the more disciplined our practice is, it's like karate, it's like yoga, it's like everything. So our next photographer has had this practice that's been infectious. We've all been a part of it. We've all been seen by this person, right? We've all been celebrated by their lens and their flash. And, just Tristan standing in front of you like the cat's pajamas with a Fuji X100V, you know, has just been a great thing. And I think this practice of, you know, taking so many pictures is making Tristan a great photographer. So he's blue. So please help me welcome Tristan deBrauwere.
Hello, I'm Tristan. Thank you so much, Clay, for that introduction, and thank you all so much for coming tonight. Being up on the stage is crazy for me, so I'm really happy that you're all here. But I want to begin tonight with a quote from the iconic photographer Elliot Erwitt, who actually passed away a few weeks ago. He said, "The whole point of taking pictures is that you don't have to explain things with words." Ironically enough, I'm going to try to explain some things about these images with some words tonight. So an exploration of the unexpected is a body of work that I spent every day of the last year working on. It's the culmination of endless nights in the photo studios, many aggressive flash portraits in the hallways here, getting really bruised in mosh pits, and tens of thousands of photos that I've boiled down to the 38 that are in this book. I really wanted to make a book where you wouldn't really be able to guess what would come next, but also have everything be so drenched in style that it somehow all just works out together. So much of my work is the pursuit of this characteristic style. Just as the portfolio is always a work in progress, I know my visual language is going to continue to develop into something even more bizarrely unique. Some may call it crunchy or whatever you want to say, but I just call it me. And whether I'm creating an image with a collaborator like this bubble image I made with Leandra, my classmate, or I'm just at some party on the floor taking pictures of some random dude I've never met blowing bubbles, I want everything to have a sense of visual rhythm. I want all of my photos to make sense together somehow. Even if it's not clear on the surface, things should just make sense in your head. And you know, no matter the subject matter, if someone can see my photo from across the room or in a 3-second glance on social media and say, that's one of Tristan's photos, then I think I've done my job. But the sequencing of this project was, to put it lightly, a challenge. If you know me, I feel like you know why all of these photos somehow make sense together. If you don't know me, I hope you can indulge a bit in this world that I've created. These pairings don't have to make sense, they just need to feel right. And getting to that place required a lot of experimentation with lighting, especially with really harsh and overpowering flash. I love how flash can both create and obscure texture, like in the image on the right. Bringing these bizarre arrangements of objects side by side with a wide array of portraiture is only possible because of how flash creates a fundamentally false image. Nothing ever really looks like a flash photo, so why should I try to embrace reality? Why not push past that into something weirder, more distinct and stylized? And for me, the best place to find something weirder is in the studio. The studio is truly one of my favorite places to be, and my studio work informs just about everything I do. Sometimes it feels like I have an idea in my head, and it's like a big block of marble, and I chip away at it until the original idea has magically just appeared on my laptop. There's really no better feeling in the world. So to anyone who has helped me bring these unusual studio ideas to life, thank you so much. There's honestly too many people here to thank. But when I think about where this style all started, it all comes back to this picture on the left I took for Clay's Ad Photo 1 class about a year ago. It's the oldest picture in this book, and I really wanted to push myself with the lighting to complement Luke's amazing abstract expressionist paintings. And this photo is the result of that, and I remember walking out of that photo shoot as happy as I've ever been, feeling like I had finally made something that I'd never really seen before. I also want to give a massive shout out to my classmate Kyra Allen. She helped me on that photo shoot and so many others. It would be the support I needed to push into this weird realm of lighting and toning. But anyways, back to whatever this is. Lots of these pairings are happy accidents. If there was another title for this book, that's definitely what I'd call it, and I want to echo that sentiment that other people have already said. I wasn't planning on putting this acne cream together with this fantastic Napoleon Dynamite costume, nor was I planning on putting this water fountain with this picture of Jarrett and Will from last year's photo prom. But somehow it all just works, and that's where the magic happens for me, and it's so awesome. Last spring, I found myself feeling really stuck in the studio. My technical ambitions were reaching higher and higher until I wasn't happy unless I had absurdly complex lighting setups that were devoid of any meaning whatsoever. So to combat this, I forced myself into the real world, like so many other photographers here, with a single handheld flash and a tiny point-and-shoot camera. I used the small flash to bring a sense of looseness to my work, calling these photos the speedlight studies. I was so completely absorbed and passionate about this process that I would post 90 images at a time on my Instagram. Literally 90 at a time on my Instagram. Just embracing the visual overload of the medium, just being so obsessive about it. It was amazing. But with this new portable setup, the series really took over my entire life, to the point where there was really no boundary between my own life and the series itself. The series is almost becoming a celebration and time capsule of the life that I've built here at RIT. Before I was here, I was at Emerson College, where I was really lost and hopeless in the face of the global pandemic that we all seem to have just forgotten about somehow. And I came to RIT almost impulsively, as if some part of me knew that I belonged here. So after that, I kind of just found community, like so many other photographers here, in my friends here, many of whom are in this series. So whether it's my friends in OSU Club, my fellow photo cagers, or anyone else, I appreciate all of you so much. But this new workflow brought me to last year's photo prom, where I took pictures of so many of my friends and peers and had the privilege of creating a time capsule of this crazy and beautiful moment in all of our lives. From there, I went to local concerts, starting with photographing the stage and always turning my camera to the crowd instead. When I would select my favorite images, I'd make separate folders, one called For the Band and the other one called For the Portfolio. To any band members who are here tonight, I'm sorry for hiding thousands of images from you, but some of them are in this book at least. So translating this crunchy style to the concert setting was honestly incredibly difficult, especially because I have no formal background in photojournalism whatsoever. Everything was based on instinct, feeling, and really integrating myself into the scene that I was in. But after a few months of doing this, a few underclassmen at RIT began telling me that my photos inspired them to bring a camera and a flash to a concert, and the fact that I could inspire other people to go out there means so much to me, truly, more than any photo ever could. But observing the crowd like this made me realize something really beautiful. These crazy, sweaty, masculine shows were spaces for men to be really vulnerable and intimate with each other in a really safe, healthy way. It was remarkable to witness as an observer and as a participant, and laid the groundwork for a project called, ironically enough, No Homo. For a more observational project like this, some people might call the flash the moment killer, as people might stop what they're doing as soon as they see me taking pictures. But honestly, it's the moment creator for me. These images aren't possible without people staring right at me and my camera and becoming involved in my process right along with me. The goal of this project was to recontextualize masculinity as something that is inherently intimate, culturally beneficial. I think it's too easy to dismiss the really good things about masculinity in the pursuit of rectifying the bad stuff. So I went, with a small camera and a handheld flash, making these funny, bizarre images that captured moments that aren't ever really talked about. People just don't talk about this stuff. It's so absurdly taboo that just showing it as bluntly as I can speak more to the idea than any words ever could. And just like that Elliot Erwitt quote I opened with, I'm going to let these photos speak for themselves a bit. Enjoy the pictures of sweaty men touching each other. And this is from the Mud Tug from September, which was just insane. Just like, what's even going on here? I like surprising the people who are in these photos who are here right now, who haven't seen these. It's awesome. You know, it was a ridiculous and fun process, and I got to know so many people through this. I made friends by photographing them, like Alex on the left. Like, I didn't know him until I took his picture, which is crazy. Yeah, this is just bizarre. I mean, this is just crazy. There were so many opportunities for me to just create these bizarre moments out of just almost thin air. It felt like it was just like magic in front of me, and just capturing that was so awesome. But ultimately, I want these photos to just show that it's okay for bodies to touch. You know, it's okay to compliment your friend's outfit without prefacing it with no homo, because it's kind of insane. Masculine intimacy isn't something we should be afraid of, but something we should embrace. And to close, I just want to say this. I've been taking photos since I was 5 years old, when my parents, who are here tonight, bought me a little digital camera for children, and it's just as exciting for me now as it was back then, and I think that's pretty special. So thank you all for coming and supporting my amazingly talented friends.
Thank you, Tristan. Those words are so great, so articulate. Here we are. So this, one thing that's awesome about this next artist is their ability to laugh at themselves. I think I could take a page from Lucas's book. Lucas started the semester in what I call the ugly duckling stage. Whenever we start something, it's just usually a little rough around the edges, but was so committed and so single-minded and so perseverant that the work just got better and better, and brick by brick has become the MVP of the class. Really, man. you are definitely the most improved photographer of the year. If I had a trophy and I could give it to you right now, I would give it to you, man. What your commitment to sport has been dope. So please help me welcome Lucas Lee.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucas Lee, and I have a burning passion for photographing athletes and other talented people. Growing up, I wasn't in much of a sports-loving household. It was only until my last 4 years of RIT that I was able to find my love for sports, and lucky enough for me, I was able to incorporate it in my photography. In my free time, I have found peace in hobbies that better myself both physically and mentally. Going to the gym and playing basketball have allowed me to work on my ability to stay consistent and dedicated, both of which directly support me in my work ethic. What sets my work apart is the careful consideration I give to every element of the photograph. I don't merely place my subjects in front of the camera and snap a photo, but instead, I strive to immerse the athletes in their surroundings, creating an authentic moment that tells a deeper story in itself. It's about capturing their game face in a way that reflects not just their physical prowess, but the spirit and devotion they bring to their craft. There is always something very exhilarating that comes with photographing gifted individuals. I enjoy snatching that peak moment out of time and space and being able to admire it as a photograph. I believe that through my lens, I can contribute to the narrative of these athletes, telling stories of triumph, resilience, and the pursuit of excellence. My images come to life with an energy that is striking and trendy, and my work explores a realm of emotion, evoking intensity through an intentional interplay of light, environment, and subject. Each photograph is a story derived from threads of competition and greatness. Looking forward, I hope to utilize the techniques and experience I was able to retain from RIT to continue growing as an artist. I hope to work on my values as a person and my ability to instill excitement in others. I hope to one day grow old and have the ability to look back at my career as a whole and say, I had a purpose and I fulfilled that purpose. With all that being said, I have decided to dedicate my purpose on this earth to photographing some of the most successful and highly recognized athletes of our generation. This is not just a career choice for me, it's a calling, a journey, a mission to showcase the magnitude that lies within these remarkable individuals. Finally, I'd like to just thank the professors and my peers, my family, for pushing me to be the best version of myself. I feel like I've improved a lot this year, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys, so thank you.
So good, Lucas. So, I'm always like, who do you want to work for? I always ask the students, who do you want to work for? Leandra's like, Gucci, YSL. No doubt. Leandra Worth will work for Gucci and YSL. Top of the food chain, closing us down tonight. Please help me welcome Leandra Worth.
Thank you for that introduction, Clay. Well, my name is Leandra Worth, and I'm a still life photographer. I would describe my work as vibrant, conceptual, and elegant. The camera's ability to abstract the world around me has always fascinated me, but I really fell in love with studio photography while I've been here at RIT. Before I came here, I was shooting travel, landscape, and architecture, and while that taught me a lot about good lighting and composition, which I think reflects in my work still, is I really fell in love with the studio. For me, that's where I get to have the perfect combination of getting to be a perfectionist and take my time and also be really creative. It's exciting starting with a blank slate and creating something that wasn't there before. It's given me the freedom to create from my imagination. I believe every object has a story to tell, and it's my job to figure out what it is. When I'm shooting product, I approach it one of two ways. One is to think about the brand identity and the person who would use it and something to make it appealing to them. But the second way is when I have the most fun. I like to personify the object and think about how it looks, smells, and feels, and then to create an environment around it that will portray that mood. I often use colors to utilize that feeling. My process begins with deciding what lighting, colors, and composition will best tell the story of the subject. I often look to fashion and interior design when I'm thinking about form, color, and texture I want to incorporate in the photo. Movies also inspire me a lot, from the narrative to the visual impact they have. I love cinematic lighting, and I try to bring that to my photography as much as possible. Creating a rich environment in each photo is really important to me. I want you to feel like you're getting a glimpse into another world. I try to envision myself in the scene first, and that helps me connect to my photos and portray the feeling I'm trying to convey. My goal is to bring ideas to life and give a sense of wonder in each image by creating rich environments full of beautiful colors and great lighting. Working with motion this last year has helped me take my ideas to the next level by creating a more immersive experience. I want each piece to capture your attention and not let it go. It's a way of bringing you a step closer into the world I've created. Shooting still life allows me to take time and appreciate the beauty in unexpected places. Taking the time to appreciate the little things gives me a keen eye for things that people often overlook and take for granted. I want to share these moments and invite you to stop and enjoy them with me. Photography for me is about world building. Each photo I treat as an opportunity to see the world in a more vibrant, enchanting, and meaningful way. My time at RIT has transformed my work in ways I didn't imagine. So I want to say thank you to all the professors who believed in me and kept pushing me harder, knowing I could do it when I didn't know myself. It's amazing to show you my work now and remember how far I've come. Thank you.
That was great. That was great. Can the parents stand up for a second? We recognize the parents who are here. Could you guys just stand up? Because, I mean, there's a lot of creative people here, but you guys created these talented artists, so you really creative people too, you know, like you created all this. So I just want to thank you for coming. If we can have the whole class come up for just one final round of applause up here. Maybe, Cordell, you get a group shot. All right. Yeah. Go down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Shot. Anybody got it here? You got it in the middle? Great. All right. All right. Somebody's got a camera. Quinn
has an actual
camera. Great. Thanks, everybody. Come join us in the lobby. We got some refreshments. Shout out to Massimo for getting us some food. Thank you, Massimo.